This is Carl, CrossFit South Bend. Today we're going to take you through how to execute and do a deadlift with the setup. Deadlift is probably one of the best ways for us to challenge the posterior chain. Your posterior chain is all the muscles that are running on your backside. It's also a great way to teach you how to pick up implements in everyday life off of the ground. So to start with our setup, we're going to start with Brandon's feet. Brandon's going to approach forward. He's going to have his toes forward. Feet are roughly under his hip, kind of in a jumping position. That bar is going to be directly centered over his knots. Doing so is going to allow us to get the bar over his midfoot. Now, let's go ahead and view this from the side. So I'm going to Brandon get down into kind of a lazy setup for his deadlift. Brandon, go ahead and get down into your deadlift position and pause there. Okay, so we're going to go over a few things. Let's go over just kind of the neck position, head position. Ideally, with this nice neutral head position, so there's this nice long line all the way from the head running through the tailbone. Now, if you were to pop his chin up, okay, we don't want that. We just want a nice neutral head position. So go ahead and bend your head back down. Good. So let's talk about how to get set up. Everybody's have a slightly different setup based on their limb length. How we're going to do that is we're going to find a relationship between the bar and Brandon's scapulus. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop a line direct from this bar vertically. Now, ideally I want this bar to line up with the crease of Brandon's armpits. So what I'm going to do is kind of drop his hips just a little bit. So now I have that straight line. What we don't want is Brandon, go ahead and shift too far forward. So now I have a relationship that's more in line with his ribs. Go ahead and do the complete opposite, Brandon, and sink your hips down too far. So now we're getting to the position where shoulders are in front of the bar. We want that to be in line. And find your position again. Drop hips just a little bit, Brandon. Good. So now we have that line directly underneath the armpits. Okay? So now we have good setup as far as the legs go. Now let's go over the back. Before we pull, what Brandon do is think about actually bending the bar around his shins. Go ahead and bend that bar. Good. And relax. Okay? Let's go do that one more time. I want you to pay attention to Brandon's shoulders. As he bends the bar, the shoulders retract and depress and sit into a good stable position. Go ahead and relax, Brandon. That is the weakest point in the first place you're going to break down in your deadlift is your upper back. So we want to make sure we can do everything we can to go ahead and set the upper back up. So once again, he's going to bend that bar. He's got tension on his hamstrings. The last thing he's going to do before he pulls on the bar is he's going to pull the slack out of the bar. Go ahead and pull the slack out of the bar. Good. So you can hear that dink. You pull the slack out of the bar. Go ahead and take a break for a second, Brandon. Now this brings us to our tow truck model. Anybody who's ever towed a car knows the thing, once you set the tow straps on between you and another car, the first thing you do is you pull the slack out of the line, okay? Then you start to go ahead and tow the other car. If you don't, you have slack in the line and you just gun it and take off, bumpers are come flying off, things are gonna go wrong. Same thing with the deadlift. If he doesn't pull his slack out of that bar when he goes to pull, he's going to pull himself out of position, which is going to end to probably an injury, a missed lift, or just an ugly looking deadlift. So we make sure we pull the tension out of that bar. So we're going to take Brandon through this whole setup again, and we're going to have him do one deadlift. Now, let's go ahead and find that position again, Brandon. Go ahead and set down. So we have that good relationship of that bar and his shoulders and his armpits. He's going to bend that bar around his shins. His hamstrings are tight. He's going to pull the slack out of that bar. And he's going to stand up, press through his heels, and fall back into that bar and stand. Now that you're here, let's go ahead and go over how to properly deload the bar. We want to make sure we deload the bar and not drop it. The deload has the centric portion of it, which is a crucial muscle building phase that we make sure we take advantage of and don't just skip. So what Brandon's going to do is he's going to hip hinge until he gets that bar to roughly about his knees. And once he builds the bar past his knees, he's just going to bend his knees to bring him down to the bar. Okay, go ahead and relax for a second, Brandon. So that is how we would just execute one deadlift. Now, let's go over how we would do multiple deadlifts. For instance, I'm going to Brandon do a set of 3. We're fans of doing just one deadlift at a time, not touching and going, bouncing from the bottom. Allowing Brandon to set up with each one individually and make sure we're in good position and we can execute the deadlift to the best of our ability. Also making sure we're pulling from a true dead stop and not getting that bounce from the ground. So what I'm going to do is have Brandon do his 3 deadlifts on his own, and just notice how he sets up between each one each time. Go ahead whenever you're ready, Brandon. Stands, pushes the hips up, and he properly deloads, He's gonna reset that bar, bend that bar, pull the tension out of the bar, and he's gonna stand again. Good, and he's gonna hit one more. Good, and relax. So notice he treated it as, even though it was a set of 3, he treated it as 3 singles, getting set for each one at a time, making sure everything is locked in. Now, we get the question of switch grip. When can I use the switch grip? So let's go ahead and come to the front. As the name would suggest, switch grip is used when you need it. You switch to it. You don't start with it. We want to use this switch grip when we need it. We want to go double overhand to challenge the grip for as long as you can. Eventually the time is going to come and you're going to need a switch grip. What a switch grip is going to look like is Brandon's going down to your normal grip position. So we have a double overhand grip. Now what Brandon's going to do is he's simply going to supinate one of his hands and put it underneath. This is going to allow a counter force to that rolling out of that bar. Now, one thing we'll note on is we don't want to get good at just doing one side. A lot of times they have their strong hand and that's all we use. We don't want to create imbalances. Imbalances lead to injuries. So what Brandon's going to do is he's going to switch his hands with each rep. He does, making sure we're effectively training both sides. So what Brandon do is hit up a double, switching his grips in between reps.